Henry Cloud, Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life. Embark on a journey of rediscovering the significance of boundaries in your life through the book, Boundaries, When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life by Henry Cloud. Learn how to set emotional and spiritual boundaries to protect yourself and enable better relationships with those around you. Explore the crucial distinction between being responsible to others and being responsible for yourself. Understand the myriad ways boundary issues can manifest and debunk common misconceptions about setting healthy boundaries. The ensuing wisdom from this book forms the foundation for prioritizing self-care while nurturing relationships with others.
Kindness in setting boundaries. Establishing boundaries in our lives is essential for our emotional and spiritual well-being. It allows us to take ownership of our needs and feelings while not being solely responsible for the problems that others face. Through setting healthy boundaries, we demonstrate kindness not just toward ourselves, but also toward those we care for, empowering them to overcome their own challenges. Boundaries are all around us, offering protection and delineating the limits of our physical space. Similarly, we need emotional and spiritual boundaries to safeguard our happiness and mental health. However, these invisible boundaries can be challenging to establish and maintain, often leaving us feeling guilty for prioritizing our own well-being. Contrary to that guilt, setting boundaries is an act of kindness. By drawing these lines, we take charge of our desires and emotions, allowing for mutual understanding and support in our relationships. This doesn't mean we're not invested in other people's problems or concerns, it signifies that we aren't solely accountable for their resolution. As demonstrated in the biblical book of Galatians, we are responsible to others but solely for ourselves. Consider the story of a family, the O'Reillys, dealing with their son James' struggles. He's been expelled from school and developed a drug issue. By constantly bailing him out and solving his problems firsthand, the family eliminates James' responsibility to face and overcome his challenges. A better approach would be for the O'Reillys to enforce boundaries while still supporting James emotionally, enabling him to take responsibility for his actions and eventually find his own way to recovery. In conclusion, setting boundaries is not just an act of kindness toward ourselves. It is also an act of love for those around us. By recognizing these limits, we provide ourselves and our loved ones the space needed to grow, confront challenges, and ultimately live richer, more fulfilling lives. Boundaries, more than just saying no. Boundary issues cover a broad spectrum, not limited to just compliance. Avoidance, controllers, and non-responsives are other examples of individuals with boundary challenges that impact their relationships. Recognizing and addressing these issues is crucial for nurturing healthy connections. Boundaries are not just about saying no, as one may think. They extend to various aspects of a person's behavior and relationships. Identifying and addressing these subtle yet crucial elements is crucial to foster healthy connections. When people think of boundary issues, they often think of someone who can't say no, compliant. A compliant individual is like a doormat, vulnerable to being taken advantage of by others. However, boundary challenges can take on many forms, and being aware of them will help to build healthier relationships. For instance, you might be an avoidant. While boundaries serve to protect you from emotional and spiritual harm, they should strike a balance like a fence with gates. Avoidants build a strong fence to keep the bad out but often forget to let the good in by keeping the gates closed. Overprotective boundaries may hinder you from letting people in, making it difficult to share your emotions and seek help when needed. Another possibility is being a controller. While you may not allow people to cross your boundaries, you might be violating theirs. Controllers have a relentless attitude that leaves little room for respecting others' feelings and boundaries. Such a mindset may seem like a win-win, but it breeds fear and guilt in relationships instead of mutual respect and love, leaving controllers feeling unloved deep down. Lastly, being a non-responsive can also indicate boundary problems. Non-responsives are individuals who not only avoid taking responsibility for others but also fail to fulfill their duties towards them. If you respond to others' problems with indifference or insensitivity, chances are you're a non-responsive, making it challenging for people to form close connections with you. In conclusion, boundary issues extend far beyond compliance and manifest in several forms. Recognizing the impact of these issues on our relationships is vital to develop healthier bonds and connections. Dismantling myths on boundaries. When it comes to setting healthy boundaries, numerous myths can hold you back from embracing self-love and maintaining a thriving, genuine relationship with others. It's essential to debunk common misconceptions, such as believing that enforcing boundaries is selfish, hurts others, originates from anger, or is permanently irrevocable. Understanding the truth and benefits of boundaries empowers you to grow both personally and in your relationships. Have you ever withheld from setting boundaries for fear of being selfish or hurting others? This fear, especially prevalent amongst the religious community, stems from misconceptions about the significance behind establishing healthy boundaries. In reality, it's a profound act of self-love, empowering you to love others better. One other myth to confront is the belief that setting boundaries harms those around you. In actuality, if respecting boundaries causes hurt, it's the relationship dynamic that's flawed, not the boundary itself. For instance, suppose you decline to babysit for a friend every week, causing them to become upset and distant. Such unreasonable behavior hints at a relationship based on absolute compliance. If a relationship can't incorporate healthy boundaries, it's worth reevaluating its value. Another prevalent myth claims that people establish boundaries out of anger. While it's true that setting boundaries can spark feelings of anger, these emotions often arise from deep-seated hurt due to previous boundary violations. As you begin to enforce limits, unresolved emotions can resurface, but boundaries will offer the necessary space to process and manage that anger. Finally, it's important to remember that boundaries aren't immutable or unchangeable. Contrary to popular belief, setting a boundary doesn't imply complete and permanent separation from the person involved. For example, requesting your mother to tone down her parenting advice doesn't sever your relationship indefinitely. As you work on establishing a healthier dynamic, you may eventually discuss previously sensitive subjects with ease. By dismantling these myths about healthy boundaries, you can confidently set limits that nurture self-love and lay the foundation for wholesome relationships. Embracing healthy boundaries. Recognizing when your boundaries have been violated is crucial for personal growth. Resentment, though uncomfortable, is a valuable indicator that helps identify breached boundaries. The journey towards healthy boundaries involves seeking out respectful people, loving oneself, and becoming comfortable setting and recalibrating boundaries, both small and large. Ultimately, this process generates space and respect in your life. At times, you might quietly accept when someone oversteps your boundaries, dismissing their behavior as harmless. But eventually, resentment builds up, signaling that your boundaries have been crossed once too often. Pay attention to this uncomfortable feeling, as it serves as a reminder that boundaries must be respected. Navigating the path to a life filled with healthy boundaries is both challenging and rewarding. Dealing with manipulative or controlling individuals can be addictive due to the feeling of being needed and important. However, those who truly respect your boundaries, such as a friend understanding when you cannot attend a gathering, may not provide the same emotional high. Engaging with respectful individuals is proof that you're recovering from your boundary issues. As you journey towards healthier boundaries, self-value and love become paramount. For Christians, this also means loving God. When our boundaries are repeatedly violated, we may internalize poor treatment and inadvertently mistreat ourselves or others. Embracing self-worth and celebrating your own value are vital steps in this process. With self-love comes the ability to set small-stakes boundaries and let go of those that no longer serve you. For example, you might request your spouse not to leave you with dirty dishes, or accept help when offered by a friend. Adjusting these smaller boundaries prepares you for tackling larger ones and maintaining a well-balanced life. In the end, you will come to appreciate and cherish the healthy boundaries you've established, savoring the newfound space and respect they create in your life. Family and boundary issues. Our family dynamics teach us about boundaries, which continue to influence the way we establish our own limits in adulthood. To break free from unhealthy behaviors learned in the past, we must be aware of boundary issues and take steps to understand the underlying unmet needs driving our actions. Responding, rather than reacting, to situations is essential for maintaining healthy boundaries, as well as forgiving those who repeatedly violate them. Are you familiar with the feeling of insecurity and uneasiness after interacting with family, despite being a confident and capable person? Do you find yourself sacrificing your partner's feelings for your parents' approval or depending on your parents to solve your problems, no matter how trivial or severe? If any of these situations resonate with you, it's possible that your family has boundary issues, which are affecting the boundaries you establish in your own life. Our understanding of boundaries and limits is learned from our families. We tend to recreate boundary issues we experienced in our childhood, whether it's by constantly counseling our parents or seeking their help whenever we encounter obstacles. These patterns are influenced by both weak and overly strict boundaries we have experienced or families avoiding confrontation. Changing these unhealthy patterns starts with identifying the problem. Reflect on your own life and relationships and look for areas where you have either taken responsibility for someone else's needs or imposed your own onto others. Delve deeper into the reasons behind these patterns. Do you strive for your parents' approval or attention? Becoming aware of your motivations can enable you to make changes in your behavior. When your boundaries are violated, it's crucial to remain composed and respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting instinctively. This allows you to assess the situation and make better decisions that respect your established boundaries. If a family member consistently disregards your boundaries, remember to practice forgiveness. By forgiving them, you are releasing the power they hold over you, ultimately leading to a renewed freedom in your life. Boundaries, love's loving gift. Boundaries are essential for cultivating healthy, fulfilling romantic relationships. Embracing boundaries in a marriage allows couples to own their feelings, desires, and limitations, paving the way for increased mutual respect and understanding. Recognizing and respecting these personal boundaries prevents resentment and conflict, fostering long-lasting love and partnership. Boundaries are often misunderstood, especially when it comes to romantic relationships and marriages. Many couples believe that their love and shared experiences exempt them from needing boundaries. However, establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries is a crucial element in fostering thriving, long-lasting relationships. Boundaries act as a shield for individual well-being and personal space, allowing couples to show love and care for themselves and each other. Consider the story of Rosario and Jim. Rosario believes her husband is drinking too much, but she struggles with her feelings and cannot effectively communicate her concerns. Instead of projecting her emotions onto Jim, Rosario needs to take ownership of her feelings and express them clearly. By saying, "When you drink, I feel scared and alone," she can establish a healthy boundary and initiate open communication. Owning desires is another vital aspect of building strong relationships. In the case of Andrea and Caroline, conflicting intentions caused tension in their relationship. Andrea's demanding job eats into their personal time, leaving Caroline frustrated and distant. Instead of harboring anger and blame, Caroline should take ownership of her desires and communicate her wish for dedicated work-free evenings to reconnect with Andrea. This simple act of acknowledging one's aspirations creates mutual understanding and allows for finding a middle ground. Moreover, understanding and owning personal limitations play a significant role in maintaining relationship harmony. For Raphael and Julie, their conflict stems from an imbalance of time spent on their respective interests. Raphael consistently involves Julie in his DIY home projects, leaving her little time for her beloved oil painting. Julie should establish a boundary by acknowledging her limits and addressing her need for individual time to pursue her hobby. Each of the couples mentioned faces unique challenges. Yet, the solution remains the same: establishing, upholding, and respecting personal boundaries. Boundaries are vital in preserving individual well-being and creating space for empathy and understanding in romantic relationships. In the end, boundaries are not barriers that stifle intimacy but a loving gift that nurtures the unwavering bond between two individuals. Boundaries strengthen friendships. Establishing healthy boundaries plays a crucial role in maintaining rewarding friendships. While some friends may actively try to please one another, others may attempt to control or manipulate the relationship. Open communication and understanding of each other's needs are essential for a healthy balance, ensuring mutual growth and long-lasting friendships. In our day-to-day lives, we often find it easier to establish boundaries with our partners and family members than with our friends. However, neglecting to set healthy boundaries can lead to complications and strained dynamics in our friendships, which are some of the most meaningful relationships we have. Boundaries prove to be advantageous in nurturing friendships, especially when they involve compliant and controlling friends. Compliant individuals prioritize pleasing each other, always giving in to their friends' desires. Although it may seem like a positive attribute on the surface, this approach can create issues. Imagine the story of Tom and Andy, both are compliant friends who prioritize making each other happy. One day, they need to choose whether they want to go hiking or attend a concert. Tom proposes the hike, aiming to please Andy, and Andy accepts, hoping to satisfy Tom. However, they would have both preferred the concert. By being honest with one another about their preferences, Tom and Andy could have significantly improved their joint experience. Now, consider a compliant friend paired with a controlling one. The compliant person may find that their friend tends to overpower them, leaving both parties discontent. Becky, a compliant friend, struggles with her controller friend, Suni. Suni dominates Becky by persuading her to cancel her plans in favor of spending time together. Suni also emotionally manipulates Becky, making her feel guilty for not accompanying her to certain events. Consequently, Becky feels exploited and drained. Although it may seem that Suni is entirely responsible for the unhealthy dynamic, it is crucial to acknowledge that Becky has never expressed her displeasure. To re-establish equilibrium in their friendship, Becky needs to share her feelings with Suni lovingly. If both individuals value their friendship, Becky's feedback will become an opportunity for growth. Neither compliant nor controlling friends are inherently terrible, but the absence of boundaries can breed unfavorable behaviors that damage the relationship. Establishing clear and healthy boundaries fosters open communication, ultimately ensuring that friendships remain robust and fulfilling for all parties involved. Balancing personal boundaries. Prioritizing personal boundaries is essential in both professional and personal lives. By identifying and avoiding common pitfalls such as overresponsibility, overworking, and negativity from coworkers, you can establish balance, maintain a healthy work-life relationship, and live a more fulfilling life by appropriately saying no. Ahmed has earned an outstanding reputation at work by being a reliable and dedicated team player. However, this commitment to his job takes a toll on his family life as he struggles to say no to work requests. The real issue, though, is that Ahmed already practices saying no in his personal life but fails to establish boundaries in his professional life. It's vital to understand that personal boundaries matter as much at work as they do at home. The pressure of appearing professional and dependable often pushes us to overlook our own limitations at the workplace. But it's important to remember that your need for boundaries doesn't cease to exist when on the clock. Many individuals face the common pitfall of overresponsibility, where they fearlessly take on tasks that aren't their own. This tendency is usually motivated by the fear that a coworker's unfinished work or subpar performance will negatively impact them. If you identify with this, it's crucial to step back, focus on your tasks, and allow others to handle their responsibilities. Another prevalent issue is overworking, which occurs when attempting to handle more work than a single person can realistically manage. If you're regularly overworked, it's not entirely your fault. Your boss may be struggling with allocating and managing tasks. Recognize that it's not your responsibility to solve this issue. Moreover, dealing with coworkers who consistently criticize others can be taxing. Nevertheless, remember that you don't own their negative attitudes. If necessary, confront your coworker about their behavior, allowing them the chance to learn and grow. Ultimately, their issues with you are theirs alone to resolve. To maintain a successful work-life balance, establish a boundary between your professional and personal life. Leave work stress at the office and home stress at home. Remember that, while work seems infinite, your time is not. If you can't say no to excessive work, then you're indirectly refusing other valuable aspects of your life. Fostering healthy personal boundaries allows you to enjoy a more meaningful, well-rounded existence.
Henry Cloud's Boundaries unravels the delicate balance of setting and maintaining emotional and spiritual boundaries that foster self-love and personal growth. Religious contexts and family upbringing contribute to understanding and handling boundary issues, which can in turn affect friendships and relationships. Uncover the importance of establishing and respecting boundaries in professional life to ensure overall well-being. This newfound knowledge empowers you to take control of your own needs, desires, and feelings while acknowledging your responsibilities. By setting healthy boundaries, you extend not only an act of self-love, but also a gesture of love and compassion towards the people around you.